Hey, 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 it is Friday, December 1st, 2023, the last 31 days of the calendar year. It is 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time right here on the West Coast. I am Brannon Beliso, and this is Success Never Sleeps. And as I always say, we're a collective of people, small business owners, specifically many martial arts school owners. And we're just trying to figure out this thing called life. Yes, we want to be profitable. Yes, we want to impact the communities, but to be happy in the process, with all the challenges that come with not only being a small business owner, but the challenges that come with life and just being human in the relationships and all that. It's really an art. And for me personally, I need to be at peace and balance and happy through that process. I'd posted a meme and some people I think they took me out of context with that, where Jim Carrey says you should be rich and famous and be able to do all the things you want to do to realize that is not the answer. And my reply was, my purpose is to help people and myself, create this balanced, profitable business. And somebody said to me, you missed the point. I get the point. I know money doesn't make me happy. I know materialistic things don't give me peace, right? But to have the vehicle of money to be able to do what you want provides you with that freedom, right? I think Jim Carrey can say that because he has all this money to go sit on a rock for 30 years and find enlightenment. I understand he just became a Christian, somebody pointed out to me. Good for you, Jim Carrey. And I applaud him for being able to share that with people. And I often hear that from people that are struggling with money, climbing the ladder of success. It's easy for you to say, no, it's not. Because with the more money you make, the more bills that you have. The amount of money I need to make every month just to break even is phenomenal. It's as much money as I used to make in a year. A year. That blows my mind. Just to break even, just to pay all my bills in 1 month is what I used to make in a year. In a year. So I want to be mindful of that, okay? I want to be mindful that everything I share with you on a holistic plane is to help you be happy as a person, to be whole as a person. Because if you are, you will perform better, you will have exemplary leadership, and you will learn the things you need to do to create your version of success. Are we good? Just my little mini rant this morning. I want to thank my sponsors, of course, as always, people I love. All these products I use. If you're not using them, you need to use them. You should use them. And that would be Toussaint, great martial arts supplier. We've branched out into the karate realm. We're designing gear. And I'm really excited about that. I'm not designing the gear. He just shows it to me. And if I like it, then I give him my 2 cents. But it's a relationship I've had since the 90s when my father started with them. And so they're good people, and I have faith in what they can offer you, right? Market Muscle, Stephen Reinstein and the gang. I love Stephen. I do. Good man, good soul. All started making out websites for his teacher at his school. He made them because he loved them, and nothing, no amount of money can equate to the level of success you can achieve through purpose and passion. And when he has a deep love like that, my studio, too, just gave me a video tour of the new facility. They're up to 100 employees. Most of them are in India, I believe, because they do the coding work and all that. But his passion and purpose to sit there and create a product is powerful. And what I love about these people, all of them, LC Accounting, Kids of Life Skills, it's what I call stealth wealth. You won't see them flashing money online and cars and homes and all that stuff. What you will see are people that aren't at social media because they're doing the work, doing the real work. And that's what I tell all my clients. If you spend more time at social media than you do on writing a system, than you do on developing an instructor's training program, than you do on creating the best customer experience, then I'm challenged. This is why you're stuck at 100 students decade after decade after decade. You with me? So it's about doing the real work. And most people don't want to hear that either. They think it's just turnkey. Turnkey. It is not turnkey. You've chose the hardest thing you possibly could do. And that is what? Owning and operating a small business. The hardest thing you can do, but it is what the American dream was built on. And I romanticize that. It's a bit nostalgic, but new businesses are opening every day. This is what America was built on, and I stand by that, and I continue to want to feed that and be part of that. Why I don't franchise, why I don't feed into the big machine of all that. Most of our industry is made up of small mom and pop businesses. You with me? There's more of us than there are franchises. Look at the hamburger industry. There are more franchises than mom and pop burger shops, right? Not our industry. So we want to lean into that hard. That means you must be a level 5 leader. You must cultivate a unique brand. You must be the best example through every thought, word, and action. You with me? And these are my sponsors. I love you guys dearly. What do we got coming up? It's time group mentoring. Yeah, it wasn't it was shelved because I moved into wisdom. And the reason I did that, I created wisdom because the It's Time group mentoring was way too much for me to handle. Way too much for me to handle because I wanted to create an affordable yet very, 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 very quality, impactful experience, service, product, e-learning that would help you, the small business owner, you, the martial arts school owner, genuinely move that needle. And you need us more than anybody. You're a new school, you're a school struggling between 50 and 100 students. You need us. And this is the group I've assembled. Marco Mazzola, Monique Washington Jones, and Jason Smith. People I love, all people that have done every program I've offered from the It's Time event. They did the group mentoring. They did the wisdom program. They all have really good schools, powerful brands, and they're living their version of success, right? Do not equate simply having multiple locations and lots of money to success. I believe you know what success is? Knowing what success means to you. So we're launching this in January of 2024. You need to be there. You want to be a part of it. It's the best investment you can make for yourself. You with me? For yourself. So make sure you DM me or Marco or Jason Monique, get your name in the hat so that when we start rolling this out, I've had several people keep asking me, it's there because I used to do the 8 months on my own. We have the rest of it in place. It's happening. Just be patient. You want to be the first person in line for this. Cool. What else do I have coming up? We have the next event in November. It's Time Life Purpose. Yeah, that's happening November 9th to 12th. People have been asking me about the date. 9th to 12th. Only 20 spots. That's all you're going to get. And we're going to keep it that way. We're going to have to increase it by $100 or so. You know, I want to get vehicles. I don't want to use the after school because it affects our schedule. And I don't want to have to wait for when the after school vans are available. So I physically want to rent vehicles so we can go tour other places of nature. San Francisco is such a beautiful landscape. So I want to do that. We ate really well. I want to continue to raise the bar on that. Sam On complimented us dearly for that. He goes, wow, no martial arts event feeds people the way you do. So I want to raise the bar on that. I want to keep Sam on. I want to bring Dave Kovar back, you know, and some other people. And so if I'm not doing it all myself, these people have needs and we got to require that. So I hope you choose to be a part of that. You know, as we launch that. I'm going to launch that before the new year. Why? Get the tax write-off in 2023. Smart business, get the tax write-off in 2023. Okay? At least get your spot and pay for it. And then It's Time Live Canada. That's happening in May. Yeah, that's happening in May. I think we have it. It's the end of the month. There might be a slide floating around for that, Marco, and my social media. If it's there, grab it, please. Cool. All right. It's a great Rocky Mountain day. That must be resilient martial arts. Yeah. Roy from Tampa, Florida. Bob Poole. What's happening? As you come aboard, say hello. Let me know that you're here. So we're going to get into a very sensitive subject. And it was important to me. It's kind of a couple of things. But as I've shared openly, my father passed recently, actually 2 weeks ago. And we had a very, very difficult relationship. But I'm going to make it clear to everybody right now. I love my papa with all my heart. I'm at peace. I'm balanced. I'm whole. I'm grateful. So it's not this dramatic, traumatic victim thing at all. Even though we were estranged, I hadn't seen my father for the better part of my lifetime now. And I figured it out. Roughly 20 years of actual time, physical time in my 61 years. Not a lot, not a lot, but I love my papa. I know he's in heaven. I pray for his family and I wish everybody the best. But it also got me thinking, you know, and I've always been a huge advocate of this. And I asked that question, if you got sick or hurt and couldn't work a day again in your life, how long would it be before your martial arts business or whatever business you have is closed? Can you own that? Think about that for a moment, right? And don't make up some magical, mythical statement. Think about that realistically. If right now you went down and couldn't work a day again in your life, how would that impact your business? How long would it be before it actually closed? And I don't mean giving the reins to a 17-year-old kid, right? I'm talking about done, closed, where it's no longer generating you the type of revenue that you and your family need, your team needs, right? And if you're brave enough, put it in the comments. Who else do we have here? Hello, sir. Who is that? I see lots of these Facebook users, but I don't get to see your profile. If you're here, say hello. Say hello. So that's today's topic, right? That's what it's all about. So think about it for the moment. If you got sick or hurt and couldn't work a day in your life, what would that look like? And when I recognized that at the time, my wife, no, Braden was already born. Braden had just been born. We had just moved into our home, right? So we had a mortgage payment. I had a son. We were running one location doing $1 million a year. But when brother Lay of my studio, I had gone to Virginia. They brought me out there to train their team. And while I was there, I got to tour their schools. And at the time, Toom had licensed. He was a licensee owner of 3 of them. Monique, Karate for Girls, Monique will be part of our team for the It's Time group mentoring. And so we were at one school, it was about, I don't know, 8 in the morning. And he said, I have not been here for 3 months. And I looked at this boy like, you just said something blasphemous. Because at the time I was teaching and working, teaching 40 hours a week, maybe a little more, working in the business 70 hours a week, probably. And I said, dude, what do you mean? We're martial arts instructors. We're supposed to be on the mat teaching, right? Teaching and doing it. He goes, no, dude, let me ask you a better question. If you got sick or hurt and couldn't work a day in your life, and he ran that to me, and I went, let's see, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4. And at the time, it was me and a bunch of 14, 15-year-old kids, honestly, right? And a few older elders, but, they weren't my strongest instructors. And that was just like all these things started exploding in my mind. I go, man, because at the time in the industry, I thought I was all that in a bag of potato chips. Everyone's flying me around. Here's this guy doing $1 million a year. It's unique, no contracts, no upgrades, no belt fees, right? But I realized when offered me that statement, I didn't know much. I didn't really know what I needed to know to create my version of success. So then got me involved in eMyth, him and John Cassidy. I worked with John Cassidy of Top Kick fame. He had TKI Insights for a while. I was the voice of that. And through working with John, narrating these learning with him, these webinars and stuff, I learned about eMyth and systems. And I studied eMyth. I became, a disciple of eMyth. And I studied it inside and out, because I knew I needed a systems-driven business that wasn't dependent upon me being there, but I also knew that I wanted something based upon live your best life. I knew that my brand, my purpose, all that had to be melded. So there I was. And when I went through the process, I'm going to take you through it. Number 1, what is the one thing you do in the business right now? If you couldn't do it, that business would die. Put it in the comments. What would that be? What is the one thing you do in the business that if you weren't there, that business would die? And it might be a little different for different people, right? It just might be. I see a lot of people sitting up there in the sky. Say hello. Say hello. Are you there? Say hello. I love it when I can give you a shout out here at the show. Well, number 1 for me at the time was teaching. Number 1 was teaching. I knew we could get somebody to do admin, answer the phones, order belts, do scheduling, HR, payroll. The majority of that you could outsource. The one thing we couldn't outsource at that time was teaching, because I was doing the majority of it. And I knew that. So I disciplined. I went into Starbucks at the time. They didn't have Pete's Coffee or what I drink now at home. And I would sit there, disciplined, no Facebook, no emails, nothing. I would sit there for 2 to 3 hours at a time, writing systems to replace me on the mat. I'm going to tell you why I never did that. Because I always lived in fear that somebody's going to take all of this that I teach them, open up 2 blocks away and take half my students. So I never did that. But I was in such a volatile state That's why it's all this secret stuff, secret this and secret that. None of it. None of it is that way in my business. All of it is out there. It's exposed. We do it. My challenge with that is people take my curriculum videos and they're teaching all the way to black belt, and I'm not being paid for it. And I think that's wrong, but that's a whole nother subject. I'm not going to get into it. So I believe you should be very open with your curriculum and make sure that it's doing what it needs to be done, accessible by your students. So I sat there, and the first thing was, okay, what happens? I'm here. People walk through the door. What's the first system? Greeting people. Okay, what does that mean? Taking attendance, tying belts, pre-framing the class, what's going to happen. Great. Write the system for that. Step 1, step 2, step 3. Train people on it. The first 3 months of my instructor's training experience, all we teach these apprentices, for the lack of the better word, to do, take attendance, tie belts, greet people, and tell them where to sit, before class begins. And then the instructor pre-frames. So then we went into the warm-up. Then we went into the stretch. Then we went into the live talk. Then we went into what curriculum was being taught. Our curriculum is so systematic, the way we have it designed, that you can trickle down and teach people to do it better than you. And that was the biggest thing I got from EMIT when they said, take the lowest common denominator, which is most likely a high school student, because they were using McDonald's as the model, right? $1 trillion company built on the shoulders of high school and college kids. That's who predominantly works at McDonald's. Not anymore. I mean, it's changed a lot, but predominantly, okay? So I sat about methodically writing every one of those systems, free of fear that they were going to take these systems and open up down the street, for me and take half the students, free of fear. Because of what was more fearful was if I got sick or hurt and couldn't work a day in my life, my family would lose their home. My family could be broken, penniless, and bankrupt. That was not going to happen on my watch. Simply not. Okay. So then, after I wrote all those systems based upon me doing them, I went back and rewrote them. Why? Because I'm not teaching them to me, but to get them on paper faster, just write it the way you do it. Just do that. Then rewrite it so you could teach it to somebody, that lowest common denominator, with the intent that I'm going to teach you to do this better than me. Why? Because when you leave that, Matt, what happens in most schools? Boom. Attrition rate goes up, retention goes down because nobody can do it as good as me. No, because I'm the master. Da, 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 da. That is pure ego. I want them to do it better than me. And so I'm grateful to say in San Francisco, I haven't taught at that location in almost 6 years now, as the guys remind me all the time. 6 years. That is an example of a business that works for me, not me working for the business. You with me? You with me? I hope you are. So, number 1, systems, everything you do on the mat. Replace you on the mat. Okay? Now, the albatross is I watch too many school owners let people loose way, 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 way too soon. And they wonder why they're stuck at 100 students. They wonder why, their attrition rate is high. They wonder why their retention rate's low. Because I'm sorry, when the day's done, right? I say this one, do you care if from McDonald's, if a 15-year-old kid makes you quarter pounder with cheese or a 50-year-old man? No, you don't. But there's no FaceTime. You don't sit in the kitchen watching a 15-year-old cooking your burger. So there's a certain amount of hands-on leadership, I believe, is essential. By the time I left San Francisco 6 years ago, TJ, who's now 30, 31, was a 26-year-old man. His brother Lucas was, in his mid-20s. So I wasn't walking away from San Francisco, right, and not teaching at all with a bunch of teenagers running it. You with me? So please don't make that mistake. Don't make that mistake. All right. So then I wrote systems to train them to do it. Then I trained them on it. Then they shadowed me. Then I shadowed them. Then I stepped away. And that's when things tanked. Whoa, right? You're going, what? Because there was a certain demographic in my school that was accustomed to me. Remember, I was teaching 40, 50 hours a week. They're only going to be there if Brannon Beliso was teaching. So did I watch our adult market disintegrate? Absolutely. Not in fitness kickboxing. Our adult martial arts program literally has gone down and down and down. But they've been replaced with kid students and kickboxers. So that's okay. Our numbers haven't changed in that. But I knew that. So right away, month 1, down 10,000. Month 2, down 10,000. We had an exodus of close to 100 students because I was not teaching. What is that indicative of? Anybody, can you tell me? Put that in the comments. And if you come to board, say hello. Say hello to me. Who's there? What is that indicative of? Who can tell me? Help me out. Somebody tell me. What is that indicative of? The fact that people were leaving my school. What is that indicative of? Nobody? Come on, help me out. Come on, Bob. Let's go. Culture, good answer. That's indicative of culture. Okay. But we're already, I think we're on a good path with live your best life. And we had our purpose statement, we had core values pretty much and all the rest. Strong enough systems that your team is better than you. Good answer. Good answer. Good answer. Because that is part of it. The number one answer for that is it was a personality. Do you see how my camera's letting me know? Whoa. Fix, camera, fix. It's indicative of a personality driven business. That's all it is. We fix this camera. The challenge with Zoom cameras, right? I'm going to go to Facebook really quick. Hang on. Stay with me and come back to this. Stay with me, folks. Sorry about that, but I want you. There you go. I'm back. And so that's what it was indicative of. It was a personality driven business, long and short. That's all it was. And there were certain people that they were not going to go unless it's just like, I think that's the albatross of a great performer. That performer has to be on the road. I mean, when I was a pop star in the Philippines, I had to be there singing. I had to. And that is not sustainable. Why do you think most of these artists end up being drug addicts and alcoholics and married 4 or 5 times? Because the work requires them to do it. And if you're not producing content, just like social media, if I didn't constantly do this show, I wouldn't get new clients. If I didn't constantly post to social media, I would not have any impact because out of sight, out of mind. So it's kind of like a catch-22. I need to produce content all the time. Now, one day there'll be a deep fake. They can throw my face on an AI generated thing and I can produce tons of content and I won't even have to be there. But in the moment, things that I do, in the moment, the things I say, AI could never replicate that. So I know I went on a little tangent. It was a personality driven business, long and short. That's all day. But here's the good news. January, people quitting, down $10,000. February, down another 10,000. By the end of that first quarter, we were down $30,000 from where we were a year ago in that first quarter. But the good news is I stayed the course. Why? Because I'm a visionary. And I, again, lose my home, my family's penniless. That wasn't going to happen. So often when you, how can I say this? Okay, this is how I'm going to say this. With a legacy business, a great business, you know when to contract and you know when to expand. And I knew, and I'd planned for it. I saved some money. I had a couple of lines of credit if it all went south, but I was ready for whatever that impact was going to be felt. I was ready. So what happened was, okay, stay with me. As we contracted, like many businesses will do, we were slingshot forward. And by the fourth quarter, we had the best fourth quarter ever in business. The best fourth quarter ever in business. And I never looked back. So today, San Francisco runs itself, right? I haven't been there in 6 years. It's a beautiful thing. So I want you to be mindful of that. So you got it? First thing you're going to do is write all the systems to replace you on the floor. Curriculums tight and right, instructional videos, and all that. Second, you're going to rewrite all those systems to train a team to do it. Third, have a system in place to train people consistently to do it better than you. Consistency is the word, with intent. Right now, I'm prepping all the instructors in training in Millbrae for what? For January. We're in review month right now. There's not a lot they can do. They're not teaching anything. They're assisting. They might have to demo, hold pads, sign belts, but it's very limited. I am prepping them for January. More specifically, the majority of them are working in beginning classes. So I'm prepping them on how to teach the first 6 stripes that you learn as a white belt to get to your yellow belt. Very specific, right down to the core. But if we didn't have a system, how would I know what we're teaching in January? I know exactly what we're teaching in January. And the band played on. So that's the value of that. Okay, great. I have systems. I've trained people to do it better than me. Here's the big thing. No matter how well I train people to do stuff, if they can't not survive is a bad word. If they can't thrive with what my company offers them, they will leave you. And you're constantly, well, you should constantly be building your bench strength anyways. But those rock stars, the rock stars that I have with TJ, Lucas, Fiddler, Bender, Carrie Ann, and Mr. Moore, who's back. We're talking about guys that have been with me 10 years or more, some of them 15 now. They can't stay with me if I don't pay them right. Right. And we can't just simply use our industry standards. We just finished It's Time. And everybody knows openly my top tier guy plus his 401k contributions I put in makes about 134K a year. That's what Letitia said. Verify it with her. And some guy said, wow, I'm a martial arts school owner. This guy takes home more than I do. He might, but he makes me a lot of money. And I need to secure it so he can do what he wants to do. He owns a home, has a Tesla, has a brand new baby to support. See, that's my barometer. If you gauge it upon, well, this is what a kindergarten teacher makes, or this, you're screwed. You're screwed because he can't make kindergarten teacher money. He needs to make this kind of money, right? So I'm mindful of that. And I really want to build, and I've made headway because the only place that our 2 businesses, basically come back to 2019 numbers. So we haven't grown. We were back up to 1,000 something. We'll make what we did in 2019. It's a beautiful day. So where is that additional revenue coming from to handle all these raises and increases? My profit. So I'm mindful of that. But I have other revenue streams now. And that's what we're going to talk about next. So you create a company people want to work for. Tight and right? It's tight and right. Beyond that, you need to start creating additional revenue streams. So in the beginning, I bought $1 million term life insurance policy. Why? Because if I got sick or hurt and died tomorrow, my wife would get $1 million. That would have been enough to pay off our home. The schools, if she had to sell them off and go back to work, she would have got something out of it. At least I knew that minimum was done. Today, term life insurance is obsolete for me. It serves no purpose. It's a waste of money. I'm going to cancel it. As soon as it expires, it's done. It's a waste of money. But in the beginning, it made good sense because I didn't have the type of revenue to take care of my family if I died tomorrow. Okay. So do I recommend that? I don't know. You can talk to Sam on, my buddy Roy's here. You can figure that out. Just don't do annuities. So I have a term life and that's it. Next. I looked at my house for a moment as some type of revenue. If my wife had to sell the house, at least she'd get something out of it. Yes, she would, but I had already paid so much into it in property tax. I'd paid so much into it, insurance, into fix it up, all those things. So when the day's done, is it really the equity that you think it is? No, it's not. But the fact that all that money was water under the bridge and paid for, if she sells this home, she'll get, today it'd be 1.3 million in equity. And if she went and lived in Costa Rica or the Philippines, she'd live very well, right? So be mindful of that. So the house didn't count, but I thought it did at the time. The next thing I did was I started to learn about investing. That was a big one for me because I recognize the stock market, as I've learned, with Sam will tell you, most of it's controlled by people with money. Why are they in there? Because that's why they have money. People are so afraid of the stock market. It's amazing when I talk to people, they say it's gambling. Yeah, well, so's getting in your car every day. So's owning a small business, right? Yet people will go to Las Vegas and gamble on blackjack, and so that's crazy, but they won't invest in the stock market. Again, that's media. That's propaganda because it's an environment where the majority of people in the stock market are people with money, with influence, right? And they make money. I am a witness of that. I've done extremely well in the stock market this year, and I'm just blows my mind. So you have to get the education. That I found was the real big part of avoiding is when I was willing to lift my head up and go, you know what? If I get sick or die, my wife and them are homeless. So I need to learn how to write systems. Need to learn how to create a company people wants to work for. I have to learn how to be a great leader. I have to learn these things. I have to. Otherwise, my businesses will fail. It's already tough enough. We survived the pandemic because of the skill set I have, because of the team I've cultivated, because of the team I paid better and gave tons of raises to during the pandemic while I was taking huge hits. Because I was in the position, I had additional revenue streams. You see where I'm going with this? This is by design. Did I know that when I was a knucklehead fighting in the ring at 18 years old? No, I knew none of it. I knew none of it, but I'm challenged when a school owner says, I don't want to be bothered with that. I just want to teach martial arts. Okay, get a day job and teach for fun. That's it. That's it. So, what else can I do? My own personal health, man. That's a big one, right? I want to avoid getting sick. Knock on wood. Praise God. I've been very blessed. And I was looking over my father's life. He passed away at 90 years old. I remember him went in for an angiogram where they stick the balloon and blow you up, to clear out your veins, but very minimal, very, very minimal. And we're pretty blessed with that. As you get old, you're going to get disease of some sort and die anyways, right? But to live to be 90, pretty much surgery free and all the rest, that's pretty powerful. So I have those type of genes, but it doesn't mean I'm going to out and eat pork every day, right? So managing your health. So not only physical health, mental health. That is a real, real big one. Because if you're a balanced human being, then when you face the adversity of running a small business, you don't crumple. You don't fold like a piece of paper. You're able to pivot, adapt, flow, and keep it going. Right. And that's been very, very important to my success. I share that openly. One of the greatest things my papa taught me was common sense. I posted that video the other day where I went into San Francisco, right? I just paid, I don't know, crazy. It cost me $1,000 to put an outlet in the wall. I think that's stupid money, stupid money. But if I got to pay it, I got to pay it. And I went into San Francisco. We have a TV hanging in the window we don't use anymore, right? Because we're not supposed to. We found out from the city. And I popped it up and looked in the ceiling because common sense told me the extension cord runs up into the ceiling. There must be an outlet there. Lo and behold, there is. And 10 feet from that outlet is where I want to hang this TV. So I'll run the TV up into it and plug it in there. That's simple. That's simple. But I was able to do that, negotiate that space, the wall where I want to hang the TV. Most construction today, facade walls are what? Aluminum 2x4s, right? Well, I wanted to make sure there was wood there. And lo and behold, there was wood behind this wall because it was right next to the stairs. See, little things like that. But the kicker was, which made me post the video, which was so funny, but not, there's sheetrock. And I want to know if this extension cord is going to drop down 5 feet or I'm going to punch this hole to pull the extension cord through, right? And it'll be on a surge protector, shielded, extension cord. And from everything I've looked at YouTube and studied, it's just as good as something wrapped in metal conduit if it's the right cord. Great, wonderful, fine. So I had to make sure there weren't 2x4s running this way. So I took this white belt, I cut a hole in the sheetrock, and I dropped down this belt, and it went down about 10 feet. Duh, tells me I can drop an extension cord and pull it through this hole. See? I mean, those things are common sense. They really are. And the common sense teaches me if I don't know about investing, I'm going to learn it. If I don't know about social media, I'm going to learn it. I'm going to learn it. But where does common sense come from? Learned experience, trial and error, making mistakes. I've lost a lot of money. I've made a lot of money. I make mistakes every day. I fail all the time. But like Buzz Lightyear said, when he learned that he wasn't a space ranger, he couldn't really fly, right? He was just a toy. Flying for him is falling with style. So when I fail, I'm falling with style. And that's been huge, huge in what we do. And that's why we made it through the pandemic. I've got a wall of equipment that was a failure, but we were able to pivot into virtual and run 750 students virtually when nobody was doing those numbers. Nobody. And I'm proud of that because that is one of the reasons why we have survived a pandemic, a mortgage crisis, .com, all the rest. And I want to tell you that now. Develop your common sense. Because what I needed to do for that, there was no YouTube video. Sure, I could have found a YouTube video. I'm trying to mount this into aluminum studs. What do I need to do? right? I'm mounting this on wood. What do I need to do? I could have done that, but I already knew from, my papa again, I'm going to praise him for that. We had no money. When there was a leaky faucet, you think he was calling a plumber? No freaking way. I was standing with him at freaking, well, back then it wasn't Home Depot. It was Goodman Lumber. I'd be standing with my dad. He's looking at stuff, trying to figure it out because you had no YouTube video. You had nothing. You had to figure it out. And that has been bred out of you because you pick this up and this is what you rely upon. I want you to really, really ask yourself and make a commitment to stop doing this all the time because it's convenient. Because every time you do this, common sense, a little bit of that goes away. Right? A little bit goes away. Common sense. The train's coming down the tracks. Don't stand on the tracks. That's common sense, right? That's common sense. So again, when it comes to running your business successfully, negotiating space, I don't run it emotionally. I run it based upon common sense. It's rooted in a deep passion and purpose for live your best life, but make no mistakes. I take very calculated risks now. It's not just this reckless abandon, very calculated. And sometimes what I've learned today about great leadership, great negotiation is learning to be quiet. As much as you hear me talk, there's so many things that go on in my business and that are unsaid. It really is sometimes strategically. It's not what you say, it's what you don't say. Cool? So let's review. So far, we know number one place, replace us on the mat. That's it. And write the systems to train people to do it better than you, right? Get it in place, implement it, step off the mat. Second, create a company and a team that people want to be part of. If they buy into it, they're a paycheck player. If they believe into it, they'll go to war for you, like my guys did during the pandemic, and they've been rewarded for it handsomely. Financially, they've been rewarded for it, and I say that from a heart level that I'm very proud of. Next, of course, is in that, building that company. We have 401ks, medical siphons, vacation with pay. We've raised the bar. We closed from Thanksgiving until that Monday. We've raised the bar. We closed for a week during Christmas because I want to honor my guys' time. And that's family time. And as they grow up now and they're getting married, they're having kids, that has to be part of our culture too. So all that's going on. All that's going on. Even though we are who we are, people ask, why don't you just pay another electrician? Because we want to stick to our budget. I find that's a big thing also in negotiating these things is, can you afford it? Can you do this? And you pick and choose. You pick and choose. I want to do something really special for the holidays and it's going to require a certain amount of money. Fortunately, I have it in an account. I'll pull it and I'll use it with a big smile on my face because that memory, I want to create. It's powerful. So again, when I was going back to that Jim Carrey quote, I understand the value of money. I understand its purpose. So I don't spend negligently. I spend mindfully. And that I think is where you need to think about that. Your number one resource is your team. Please make the mindset shift. You'll spend all this money on a Facebook ad, but you won't kick it down and pay your team. Who's going to retain your students? A Facebook ad or your team? Your team. Who's going to make those students raving fans to go out there and tell more people about you? Your team. Please invest in your team heavily, heavily, heavily. So I think that's a big mindset shift, right? And understanding the value of that. It really is. It's powerful to me. And I want to keep nurturing that relationship with my team so they feel valued, right? So we got systems, replace me on the mat, create a company people want to work for, grow a team, right? Grow a team. And then next, as I shared, create revenue streams. And for me, even though I have it's $1.3 million in equity in this home. It doesn't mean anything until I sell it. And my wife doesn't want to sell it. So we're going to be here. What I want to do is pay it off. That's what I freaking want to do because interest is a waste of money. It's only 3% right now, but it's still a waste of money. You guys with credit card debt, get rid of it. Waste of money. All the interest you pay on credit card debt, waste of money. So it's things like that, little things like this. Sure, I can afford to go to Pete's Coffee. It's $400 a month. Now my bill is what? $150. I have subscription. I have a Breville. I make my own every morning. It's organic. So not only is it healthier for me, I have $300 extra to take to invest because you need to create revenue streams of passive income. Passive income. You need that. Please know that. You need that. So it's time consulting. And now I'm expanding with Marco and Monique and Jason. So they're going to carry some of the legwork. I'm an advisor for a couple of businesses now. So I get paid to think. Creatively, I love it. Purpose, I love it. So again, those multiple revenue streams. Kids Love Life Skills is another revenue stream of mine, right? And I'm heavy into the market, working with Sam on. All those things produce revenue streams for me. So, as the saying goes, I don't have all of my eggs in one basket. You with me? So that's a mindset shift that I really want you to grasp. Because I was working today with Kin Creative, who I'm part of as an advisor and a brand ambassador. They said, well, how do we shift from the mindset of simply completing tasks? Because one of the things I do with all my clients is they text me at the end of the day, one thing you did well, one thing you can do better. So all the guys on the team text me. And I noticed that the thing they celebrate the most was when they finish a task. Now, the task to me is open the door, take the money, teach the classes. That has to happen. Hell or high water. That has to happen. But that's the problem, is that's where you stop. That's all you do. And you've created a job for yourself and you're a terrible boss. What I do is I open door, take the money, teach the classes. But that visionary work, where's your business in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years? That has to be chipped away at a little bit every day. I started on the mat. It was only by chipping away at it every little day that I finally got off the mat, right? In San Francisco. I chip at it every day, but it's like Bizarro Superman. I know Marco likes superheroes, right? You got Superman, then an alter universe, this alter ego, this other universe was Bizarro Superman. I do that every day. I'm here right now with you. But in the same respect, I'm trying to give you visionary. So you're always knowing what your business is going to look like in 1 year, 3 year, 5 years. You with me? Who's with me on that? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. So you've got to do that. You got to do it. And that's really what so they go, how do we do that? I said, well, celebrate that you've completed a task, but then ask yourself, does the task I completed also contribute to the visionary work of what my business would look like in 1 year, 3 year, 5 years? Case in point, if I write a system, then I finish it today for the warm up. Is that going to affect my business 3 years from now? Yes. Yes, because if I have a great system for a warm up and I can train a team to do it better than me, and they're running that warm up and we're not using students, losing, and we're retaining them, then I can do vision work. And I've created a business that works for me versus me working for it. And if the business works for me, then again, God willing, if I get sick or hurt or die tomorrow, my family is still intact. If I die tomorrow, TJ and the team can run these schools, right? Letitia's in position as my bookkeeper. She can come in and do all those things. Admin, Mrs. D and Michelle, it could keep rolling. I only teach a couple of days a week again now. And as long as they keep cultivating bench strength, they'll get to that level. I know it's a little morbid, knock on wood. I pray God keeps me here for many, many years to serve you and my family and everybody, but I'm mindful of that. And the sense of peace I feel is really the greatest reward. That is the greatest reward. Now, if I get my home paid off, which is the only bill I have, because we pay our credit cards in full every month, we have a credit card for each location, plus my personal. Other than that, I have no debt. My only debt is my home. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And so we want to get to that point. Want to get to that point again. You don't keep a budget, you don't stick to the budget, you're in trouble. Everything I do, I run by Letitia. Can we do this? Can we do that? We're going to give a little cash bonuses this holiday. And my wife, who handles all that, asks Letitia. There you go. So again, it's a new habit. And so your habit should be, going back to what my conversation was with Kim today, was, does this also move my business closer to what I want it to look like in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years? You with me? You with me? And I hope you are, because don't think that putting in a baby changing table does not affect the retention of your school. It absolutely does. If somebody feels welcome, they feel you're thoughtful, it's a retention tool, right? So, as I say, and this is super important, it's not the little things that matter, it is everything that matters. Cool? All right, let me take a deep breath. You have questions? Put them in there. Put them in there. What questions do you have up to this point? Nothing? You don't have nothing? All right, so I'm going to roll on. So then the other thing, there's two things that a little bit strange, but they're not. I want to build a company that I'm going to sell. I'm never going to sell my company. I understand that. That's okay. But if you build a company that you are going to sell, then I saw your new ad. Did you do that? Who's asking that question? Put it in there. And which ad was it? So I build a company that can be sold. So I have an exit strategy. Because contrary to popular belief, one day I'll be too old to teach. That's it. That's a fact. And if I don't create a succession plan or an exit strategy, my businesses die. I believe in my succession plan with TJ and Lucas and Bender that I'm creating this environment where they will succeed. And even though the piece of the pie will get smaller for me, I will still have a revenue stream well into old age when I physically can't teach. One of the many revenue streams, right? Who's with me on that? So it's good sense. So that's why I have a number. And my number's grown a little bit, but it's 8 million. I want $8 million in my portfolio. 40% taxes, what am I left with? 5 million, hypothetically, right? Right? Well, because it's yielding. Let me rephrase that. $8 million portfolio yielding 8 to 10% every year, right? If it's managed right. 10%, $800,000. 40% taxes leaves me with what? 4,000, about 5,000, somewhere in there. 500, let's say 500,000. I can live really well on that. I want to travel, I want to do things, and of course, part of that 500,000 is declining health. If I believe Obama's Medicare is going to take care of me, it is not. I will need supplemental health care. And that comes with it too, you see? So again, you need a number. And what is that number for you? And I'm going to go a little bit above it because there's always the unknown. Things will happen. And I'm still got to put 2 kids through college. You see where I'm going with all this? And I want to help my kids start a business if they want, because I never had that type of support. So all of it adds up. All of it adds up. So which Facebook ad are you referring to? Put it in there. And maybe Marco can find it. Marco can play it. And it's the video one, I'm sure. So funny we were talking about this today. And so those are all the things. But if I don't have a destination, and that destination is that number of 8 million, if I don't have the destination of succession, because one day I won't be able to teach, none of this can come to fruition. I don't simply get in a car and drive. That's insane. I want to go to Disneyland. Great. How are we going? Well, I don't like to drive or take a train. I want to get there as quickly as possible. Great. We're going to fly. Do we have the financial means to do that? Yes, we do. Great. Once we're there, what type of financial means do we have sticking in our budget? Where are we going to stay? Right? Airbnb, a hostel, the Disney Grand Californian. Where in the hell are we staying? Okay, where are we going to eat? Blah, 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 blah. On and on. See, all of that needs to be thought out. And it really is alarming for me when I talk to so many school owners that are in their 50s, 60s, don't even have any of that in place. But don't be disheartened. Like they say in the song, it's never too late to stop. Look, right? It's never. Okay, Marco's got this commercial. Let's see if this is the one, this new Facebook ad. Run it, Marco. Little off subject, but I want you guys to see this. I'm not seeing it. Where is it, Marco? I know my camera's going blurry again. I got to get a new camera, Marco. Here you go. Oh, I can't hear it. Volume. Are you going to play it again with volume, Marco? Is that what's happening? What's going on? Whoa, look at that. Looks like infinity, Marco. Got like a million things open. What happened there, Marco? Anyways, please watch it. Right? If Marco can fix it. I want to hear it at the same time as everybody else. Marco's messaging me. A lot of parents today allow their child to dictate what they want to do and when they want to do it. But we know that's not how life works. And as soon as those kids are faced with adversity, they're going to be crushed. And that is why it is so important that we instill grit in our children, challenging them to do the things that require extra effort, like earning a black belt. And when they can learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable and thrive in it, that's when they recognize their unlimited potential. It gives kids the skill set to believe in themselves and to become resilient to outside negative influences. And if you want your child to be happier and healthier, then bring them to One Martial Arts for a complimentary class. So what do you think of that, folks? And why do you ask that question? And then I'll answer it. Somebody saw this ad and they're asking me, right? I saw your ad. Did you do that? Come on. We got a few minutes left, so I don't mind going off on this tangent. I'm cool. Let's talk about this for a minute. And if you have any questions about today's topic, go ahead and put that into. What are your thoughts? What are your questions about it? You think it sucks? You like it? What inspires you to ask me that question? Working on my own. Good. I'm glad. I'm glad. I'm glad. So, what is the first thing you notice? Right? It does. It's very sensitive. It's talking about subjects that resonate with a parent and a parent's heart. The big thing we're not doing, which is part of our direction at Kin Creative, I don't know why in the hell someone tells you to hold your camera and walk through your school talking. That has nothing to do with anything. I don't know. Or maybe you're supposed to because it shows action and movement. But the first time I did that, when someone asked me to do that, I'm holding my phone, walking to the school. Where am I going? I'm just walking through my damn school and I'm narrating this script. And I'm going, who in the hell said that was a good choice? Right. So when we started to do this, we have a kickboxing ad running with Kin Creative that's been performing well since May. Since May. That is badass. It's pretty unheard of, but it's not a unicorn. We're trying to piggyback on that, springboard off that, and create other content. And this ad is an example of that. Well scripted, very sensitive subject. We position ourselves as a solution. We are the demographic. We know who our avatar is, and we talk to them. The neat thing, I believe, the marriage that I have with Kin Creative, I am a school owner, number one, but more importantly, I am a parent. In college, I was a film major and a music minor. So I bring all this creativity to the plate. And what do I have? Common sense. So it's a collaboration with Kin Creative. And it's some of the things that we're doing now to position not only my business, but to position the martial arts industry as something above anything else. One of our taglines, which has legs, is invest in your child's future, right? We've all said it different ways, but nobody said it like this. I want to create iconic taglines like that. I want to create iconic sayings like Nike's just do it. It's good now as it was in the 90s, the 80s, the 2000s. It's good. Just do it. Man, if I could write headers like that, headlines like that, amazing, right? So that's my goal. Invest in your child's futures like Nike's just do it. I believe that. So yeah, that's a collaboration that I did with Kin Creative, and I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So there you go. Any questions you guys have before we wrap up the show today? We got a few minutes. I'm going to take you out on all that. So what do I got coming up? I have It's Time Group Mentoring, right? I'm bringing my friends along, Marco, Monique, Jason, and we're putting it down. We start January 2024. If you want to be part of that, DM any of us. Get your name on the list. As soon as we launch it, you'll be the first to know. It's going to be a 12-month program. It's building upon my 8-month mentoring program that I originally did that morphed into my executive program, Wisdom. And now we're creating something along with my friends so we can serve you better. Cool? So you want to be part of that. It's built for you. But make no mistake, you're going to work your ass off. Work your ass off. Ask any of the 3 that have worked with me in my group mentoring. They've worked with me in Wisdom. You will work your ass off. You will cry. You will hate me at times. You'll be upset. But I guarantee you, if you do the real work and you trust us and you invest in the relationship with us, you will get to the other side and be living your version of success. You got it? We have It's Time Live Purpose. That's coming up in November, 20 spots. That's it, 20 spots. Be a part of it. I'm going to launch that before the end of the year. Why? Strategically, you want the tax write-off now, right now. Right? So that's why I'm choosing to do that. When those 20 spots are filled, we're done. Then I'm coming up to Canada. I don't know if you were able to find that anywhere, Marco. I'm coming up to Canada in May, the last weekend in May. I think that's Saturday, May 25th, somewhere in there. 25th through the 28th, 29th. What is the last Saturday in May? There it is. May 2024. But what's the last Saturday in May? May 25th, something like that. Yeah, I've been wanting to get up to Canada for a while. Now that I'm working with Kin Creative, it makes a lot of sense. There's already people reaching out about that, saying they want to be there, they'd love to be a part of it. Yeah, so that last weekend starts on the 25th. 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th. I will be up there for It's Time Live Canada, and we're excited for that as well. So as I take you out, let me thank sponsors, Marco. Tucson, Market Muscles, my studio, Kids Live Life Skills, LC Accounting. I love you guys. I'm blessed to say everybody I work with, I love. I can tell. I get off the phone. I tell everybody that. Monique, I say, I love you, Monique. I love you, Marco. I said to the guys at Kin. I know. I even say it to Sam on. Kind of freaks them out sometimes. But what the world needs now is love. And if I live in love, I'll always be happier. If I live in love, I'll always be more tolerant, empathetic. I'll be more patient, and I will be financially more profitable. I truly believe that. Do what you love, and the money will come. I don't believe it's some unicorn magical cliche. I believe in it. So that's why I'm able to cultivate that. You with me? So I know it's scary, right? I know it's scary. Would your business survive without you? It's a scary thought. It really is. But if you address it with love and you're not afraid someone's going to take your curriculum and open up down the street, if you're unafraid of someone looking at your other instructors as being better than you when you're the master, if you go about this with a sense of love, you will do this work. You'll do it with a deep sense of purpose. You'll do it with a deep sense of intent. And what was my motivation? My love for my family. I don't want to leave my wife and kids homeless. And Taya wasn't even around yet, but I don't want to leave them homeless with that type of financial burden, plus mourning my death. I didn't want to do that to them. So it was a labor of love. And it continues to be today. And that's always where I will live from. I will never live from 1999 for 3 classes and a t-shirt. Never, never. And that is why I believe we are successful in our schools. We're successful with our team. We're successful in our lives because I will live from love. But does that require me sometimes to check my ego? Does that require me at times to put other people's needs before mine? Yes. Yes. And that is not a bad thing. That is what human beings should do for another. We serve each other. It's a great example of leadership. And I believe it is an earmark of a legacy business, a business that survives through the good times and the bad. I believe that. Cool. All right. I want to thank everybody for being here today. I will be working on wisdom assignments. Good, good, good. I'm glad. Yes, it is extremely hard work. Good. Work on those wisdom assignments. All right. I am Brannon Beliso. Thank you to everybody who's here. I'm going to tell you I love you. Share this with everybody. I think the information we offer is not only innovative, but it's real. And it can really help you create your version of success. Cool? All right. I am Brannon Beliso. Subscribe to our podcast, Success Never Sleeps, on all the different podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me at Instagram. Join our Disruptor group at Facebook. For everything else, go to brannonbeliso.com. Until we talk again, please, 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 you go out there, live your best life.